What is up? Welcome back into the alternate future of the world in Europe here, where recently there's been a big war that has just started. So right now, the Axis aren't in really good position. They have managed to nearly completely encircle Poland, not of conquest, just of their allies, except Ukraine. But in this one now, Morocco would join the Axis, leading to a pretty bad situation, and Germany won't like this, but Algeria would join the Allies. Germany wouldn't like this because that means if they invade Italy and an entire federation of allies, it would even be quite hard, and one of the brand new allies is probably going to get defeated. Especially because countries here, especially since Mauritania is going to declare war on them to free the Western Sahara. Tunisia joins the allies due to Italy, so does Libya and Egypt due to their ties with Britain. Israel's going to set their differences aside and are going to join the allies. And this helps the fact that all the other Arab countries joined the Axis powers due to Turkey. But Saudi Arabia would join the allies. And this would lead to Yemen and Oman and the UAE joining the allies. This would also lead Qatar joining allies, and Kuwait joins the allies too, due to their hatred of Iraq. All these Caucasus countries joins the allies, even if they're Muslim, even if they're not the same religion, they have to, or else Russia will basically completely destroy them in invasions. Kazakhstan and all the other countries here would join the allies. Afghanistan would join the Axis. So would Pakistan, and India would join the allies, along with Bangladesh. And since this is spice it up, make a plot twist, China joins the Axis, and this means Nepal and Bhutan both join the Axis too. Myanmar, basically all these Southeast Asian countries joined the Axis due to China. And here is when the allies really start to get stronger. Indonesia joins the allies, so that's good for them. And the fact is that East Timor would also join the allies. Papua New Guinea would join the allies. Australia would join the allies, since Britain is. New Zealand would, and just generally a lot of countries would. African countries aren't going to be that much involved, especially since there's so many of them. But don't worry, there will be quite a lot of major, or major African countries joining the war. This leads Taiwan to join the allies. Just not because they hate the Axis, and just because they hate China, mainland communist China. So yes, obviously North Korea would immediately declare war on South Korea, and this would lead Japan to join the war too. Mongolia, it's not hard. It will join China. I bet China could even beat Russia. Okay, that's a bit of a, But Sri Lanka joins that Axis. Ethiopia joins the Axis, and it's good because Sudan and South Sudan both will join the allies, including Eritrea, Djibouti, but Somalia, or divided Somalia, basically joins the allies. So, and Chad would join the allies simply because they're nearly surrounded by allies. Niger would join the Axis and Mali would also join the Axis. You know, these aren't major African countries. Like, we need to spice things up a little bit. No, so no, all of this has joined the war, and all of Asia too. So yeah, this war is getting really big now. Okay, that was a bit weird with the ocean thing. I'm still not really used to using paint, so hope you guys don't mind that. So America would join the Allies along with Canada, obviously, because Canada wouldn't really stand a chance against America if they joined the Axis. And even that way, they wouldn't really join the Axis anyway. It's just not really that possible. Alright, so after this, all of the majority of countries joined the Allies, like normal. And just to make it more interesting, Mexico would join the Axis, along with all of these Mesoamerican countries, other than Panama, who would quickly like make a stronger force. Obviously, for all these countries here, Colombia would try and take, you know, Panama, and this means that Venezuela will take them, and so on. So if Argentina joins the Axis, then Chile and stuff like that will join the Axis too. But since they didn't, like, they still joined the Axis. Not because I don't think they like especially don't like them. I think it's just like to spice the video up. Cuba joins the Axis, and all these countries don't really have a choice because Cuba is like the main power, other than Mexico. It's like the main Caribbean country. USA doesn't count, and all of these countries say it doesn't count. Other than that, like, it's probably the strongest one. So the Republic of Congo, or the Democratic Republic of Congo, would join the Axis, and this would lead to all of these countries joining the Axis too. And this would put the Allies in a pretty bad situation. But don't worry, if you're an Axis fan, you're in bigger trouble. But if you're an Allies fan, this is really good because all of these countries here joined the Allies. I'm gonna do Equatorial Guinea, I'm pretty sure that it's what it's called. Yeah, it will join the Axis along with these ones. So it's getting better for the Axis, but it's getting worse again because all of these countries here will join the Allies. So obviously, Swaziland and Lesotho will join the Allies, but there's a bit of a difference for Madagascar, so I'm not going to make them join the Axis just for the fun of it. So now, nearly every single country is at war, I'm pretty sure. Yep, every single country is now at war. The Allies have a major superiority, but that sometimes doesn't really work out. Oh, of course, you can't forget Hawaii. So, okay. Back in Europe, the Germans would launch some kind of blitzkrieg tactics into Poland, but Germany isn't as strong as what it was. And even though its paratroopers successfully land around here, and that troops from the Baltics would cross the border, it doesn't really seem to be that good, especially since the Polish forces mobilized and pushed the Germans out, and the Baltic states too. And now, with the Germans pushed back, completely obliterating the Polish troops at many battles and officially crossing the border. Okay, so I apologize if this is pretty crap, like painting. I'm not used to using paint, right? So don't get mad at me. Also, there's Poland would surrender. So yes, Poland would surrender. since Belarus didn't really do anything, like the only real country that got land was here, over here, Lithuania. Sorry, that's not Lithuania. That's Latvia. Sorry. Yeah, I'm not good at geography very much. So about that. Sorry about that. So the treaty gets changed. Lithuania gets this pretty ugly piece of land, but another treaty is again changed, and now Lithuania becomes one of the major powers in the area, other than Germany. And eventually, the pro-Axis country here would join Lithuania. So it's not going very well. But on the bright side, there is a small allied counter-attack into Bosnia-Herzegovina, and by small it means they take over half the land. So that's great. And now Latvia and Herzegovina surrenders. So if they surrender, then alright, they surrender. So now instead of this being Croatia, it's Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bulgaria is in a really bad situation, and it gets pushed out from all sides. And it already surrenders after only a few months of fighting. A small state is introduced in the area. It's quite weird borders, I know. Thank you to Pro for giving me the idea to make some of these videos. They really aren't that good, but it's not going very well, as a Turkish naval fleet is able to take over the entirety of Greece, Cyprus, and that's basically it. That Turkey just leaves the war, so that just makes it worse for the Axis powers in the area. North Macedonia gets completely obliterated by Allied forces. So yes, that's one thing that happened in the war too. So here are the new borders of the North Macedonian war. I'm guessing Greece gets a bit of land, and Albania gets a bit of land, and that's that. Kosovo surrenders, and it's officially annexed by Serbia, and this one is Montenegro is left alone, but it's not as strong as it used to be. If you hear construction work outside, yes, it is construction work. That's what's happening so far. And also, what's also happening is that Sweden is surprisingly getting pushed back by a joint Norwegian-Finnish force. He would cross into the border, and to the sheer delight of the Allies, Sweden is completely taken apart, and it surrenders quite quickly. Well, I remember thinking, oh, this is going to be bad. It's going to be really bad for the Axis. Well, no, it's not, because there's going to be quite a lot of betrayals. Like obviously, eventually through somebody here is gonna join the one Axis, right? Like right here. Like this place is right there, you know what I mean? But it's gonna join the Axis. It's so obvious at this point. Like, why would they want to help Poland Poland and stuff like that when they just take all the land for themselves? Like, that's the thing. So here's the new borders. They're not that good, but I think they're okay for a person that doesn't even know mapping. And by the way, if you're thinking about then the Legoland, or I think it's called Legoland. Well, They're no more. Yeah, not very good, was it? It goes all to Germany, obviously, because Germany does not give any other land if no one else contributed. So they take all of that land, making it considerably stronger and strong enough to invade France. I'm gonna keep going because I just enjoy this quite a lot. So yeah, they made a really small push, like advancing a little bit into the borders, but this will be enough to get Belgium to surrender. Due to the fact that like Germans basically took over half their land, like 3/4 of their land. So yes, this helps that the Axis' morale largely. So yeah, and you were thinking about, you know, Luxembourg. Well, no, more like Germanburg. Okay, that was not funny, but still. And here, Slovakia is completely destroyed by all the countries. Like all of them, I mean like all of them. You know, Poland is basically like not really gonna contribute. They still do because they're forced to. So yeah, and here are the new borders. Okay, so yes, basically a nearly Czechoslovakia, not completely, but nearly. So yes, oh, it's going quite average, you would think. And by the way, now officially, the Bulgarians lead the war. And if you're thinking about, like, you know, like, yeah, I'm not even thinking about like, you know, Belarus. Well, it's more like half Belarus now, because, you know, invasion. Yeah, so Belarus got, so in short, Belarus got completely annexed. So yes, and for once, these countries are finally cooperating. Russia didn't get the amount of land that they wanted, but still, like, come on, they're Russia. They're the biggest country in the world, and Latvia leaves the war. And officially Sweden leaves the war too. Now it's suddenly gone all wrong, because now, due to a joint Balkan like fight, like invasion, Austria is forced to surrender. Is forced to be annexed and surrenders. You know they get annexed. Oopsie daisies. I didn't know that was there. I just actually didn't know. Okay, it's not there anymore. Yeah, so like I said, I'm not that good at mapping. So here are the brand new borders. Serbia in this war has benefited a lot and has gained a lot of land. Like they're thick. In exchange for giving that, there's a brand new state, brand new state, and so Polonia gets a tiny bit more land, just because of the kindness of the Croats. Get them a tiny bit more land, and now they're all blocky and stuff. Amazing. Okay, the mini microstate that joins the water fight. And now the Axis are getting pushed back on all fronts. But suddenly, all of a sudden, due to seeing that Ukraine gets all the land, Russia joins the Axis. You knew this was coming. You knew this was coming. Like, why do you guys not think it was coming? Like my dudes, Russia is always evil. You must know that. Russia will stop at nothing to invade. And due to, you know, Russia like getting a bit fighty, they completely attack Kazakhstan. Yeah, Russian forces march towards Astana, and they capture it. Now they're like securing their borders, and due to this humongous like, you know, sadness. And Russia has advanced on all fronts. Like, you know, Kazakhstan, you know, quite big, isn't really that strong, to be honest. Gets completely annexed. So in short, yes. China gets a little bit of land for contributing in the war effort, like a little bit, like just a tiny little bit, like by tiny bit I mean like this much. But in the eyes of the Axis, that's a huge amount of land. So you gotta give it to Russia for being so generous to the Chinese. Wonderful old Russia, copying Stalin. And the rest of it, completely capitulates and surrenders. So yeah, so that it's only gotten much better for the Allies, as Russia has just kind of betrayed them, to be honest. I think there's enough action for this video, but I think it's gonna do like one more quite big like micro war, like invasion. How do I say micro war invasion? So now this is not major, but like yeah. But Kyrgyzstan, I think is what it's called, it surrenders along with Tajikistan. You know, Tajikistan wasn't even getting purely threatened whatsoever. They still surrendered just because they kind of had to, or still completely annihilated. That's not a major war. The major war is Uzbekistan getting invaded. Like, that has to be major, right? Yes, it is. And it's a small invasion because Russian forces still are coming back. But after the Russian forces come, they completely obliterate Uzbekistan's resistance. And the Chinese forces cross the border with their overwhelming amounts of troops, just completely destroying Uzbekistan. USA hasn't really done much because they know they won't be able to reach Uzbekistan in time to save them. Even if like they stopped the invasion, it would still be way too late, as Uzbekistan would be practically at this time be, you know, gone. So China gets a little bit of land, okay, a little bit, a tiny little micro bit. By micro bit, I mean this much. China has really started to expand. Yeah, Russia too. Look at this thick Russia. Russia thick. So I think that's gonna end this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like and subscribe.